Walker Mansion. Built in 1901. Lightning took it down in 1918. Something else. Wow. The guy was an alfalfa farmer, but made it pretty big. Right on top of a mountain. There's Denver. This is at the peak on the Front Range. Wonderful stuff. I've been hiking that area right there an awful lot lately. Decided time to go high. Beautiful. Pikes Peak down that way. Amazing. There's Red Rocks. I got a long ways to go up.
Good morning and welcome back to another early morning Sunday show. The show where your record store daydreams do come true. Welcome. So the opening shot, it was a beautiful day in Midland week or so ago, about 60 degrees, Midland, in Denver, about 60 degrees or so. So I thought, okay, I'll go up to the foothills because, again, they're close to my shop. So I head up to the foothills and, there's a lot of different trails to take, but I wanted to see this old mansion. So I go up there and I said, it's just beautiful, nice and calm. You get up into the foothills, the weather just becomes a whole different beast up there. And the wind, it came up. I checked my phone. It will feel like 29 degrees. I'm just in a sweatshirt. I hadn't thought about that. And I go, holy crap, it's a little bit chilly. But I did see that mansion, which is really neat. It was, it was finished in 1911. This guy, he dealt with Cosmopolitan magazine. He was an alfalfa farmer, whatever. He made lots of money. So he put this mansion way up on top of the foothills. So you can see how high up I was by the video, okay? And got it done in 1911. It's just one of those things where, hey, honey, I'm going to go get some milk. Okay, dear, we'll see you in 2 days. That's what it was. It was so far out. I don't know. To get anything, you'd have to go forever to get it. And 1911, sure, you had stupid little cars, but this thing's way up there. But, in 1918, lightning hit it and burned the damn thing down. Why? Because the frickin' fire department couldn't get up there because it was so far up. It must have looked cool down in the city of Denver to see these flames up there. Go, ooh, look at that. Wow. Ooh, that's pretty. Yeah, God, something else. It just goes to show sometimes you just make your place a little too remote. And I'm sure it was a beautiful mansion. The rooms were nice. I hope everyone had a great record store day. Whether you did it, whether you didn't do it, doesn't really matter. Hey, I hope you had a great weekend. Let's say happy Thanksgiving for those in the U.S. and for those not in the U.S., happy whatever you do. Went well. Last week I had to go in. They're pretty sure I got this prostate cancer, so they wanted to go in and they wanted to probe. We're going to probe you. Really? Wow! Last time I was probed was by an alien. So okie doke. It's generally a 15 minutes procedure. You lay down, you stick your butt out, and it goes, this may feel uncomfortable. And they shove the probe up your butt. And you go, ooh, well, how about that? Not even a kiss for that. But, so, they throw the probe in there. And then they have to put my MRI up on the screen. So they match the MRI with where the probe's going to make sure we get pieces or whatever parts what the polyps or whatever the damn thing is in there. There's 2 different ones to see what's going on with them. Well, the MRI is not coming up. Well, that's funny, huh? That's not there. Okay. And so they're working around, they have their techs working, not getting that. And you're not put to sleep during this because it's fairly quick and it's just a probe up your butt. So, but there I'm laying there and probe up my butt and kind of waiting. And they go, well, let's bring in tech. Okay. So they bring in tech. And so, I can't see what's going on because they're facing, they're on my butt side and I'm facing the other way, on my side. Well, hey, I'm Steve. We got Billy here. Billy here's from Tech, and we got Sarah. She's here to help. Hey, everyone. Just, I'm pretty lighthearted during these things. I don't get too worked up. Hey, everyone, welcome to my butt. And they're looking, and and then you hear the famous, well, why don't we just shut the computer off and turn it back on and see if it reboots itself? See? Doesn't matter how high tech you are, man, that's what you're going to do. So as we're doing this, and I'm laying there with a probe up my butt, nothing's happening, and finally I said, I'm just going to take a nap. Doctor comes to me, so, you fell asleep on us. So, yeah. He goes, well, we couldn't do it. We couldn't get their thing up. Now you're going to have to come back. I says, well, okay, I guess I'll just come back to have you shoving their probe up my butt again. So, well, fun for that. So, yeah, that made for an interesting 15-minute thing that lasted for an hour. But, you never know, man. Oh, well. Butt doctors want to look. I got to go to a pee doctor next week. I don't know what's going on down there, but hey, it feels fine. All right. Always interesting. So, this week, let's get going here. We got some cool music. We'll start with the book. Finished reading. This was recommended by one of you. And I'm sorry, I should have wrote down the name. I keep saying I'm going to make sure I write down the names when I start, and then I forget. Mark Lanegan, Sing Backwards and Weep. And they said, this is a very good book, Steve. You should read this. And wow, holy crap, this was a book. Mark Lanegan, of Screaming Trees, Stone Temple Pilots, Mad Season. He's very young in life, began drinking, pot, and all that. I mean, just a bad childhood, not made any better by him, let's just say, okay? Wild child kind of guy. And and he doesn't forget if you piss him off. But this... he's very honest. He's very honest about what's happening. It is his autobiography and about drugs, about alcohol, what it does to you, but also how addiction is, and you can't stop. And it just becomes the most important thing in your life. And eventually you are in a homeless tent area, and because you have nothing left, no couches to sleep on, no nothing, and every day is, how am I going to score? And that's, while you're a musician, even you're getting royalty checks or whatever coming, you got nothing. It is scary. He ends it in the kind of early aughts, getting off of addiction. I guess there's some other ones he's written after this, and I'd like to kind of read them to hear more about. Really wanted to hear about him and Isabel Campbell, and their when they sang together. So this really is an incredibly good book. If you know someone thinking, man, maybe I'm going to do drugs, give them this. Give them this. Hey, read this first. Then you decide. Wow. Wow. So let's begin with the music, though. Mark Lanegan. I bought this because of this. This is his second solo album, but this is the one. This is his piece de resistance that he put everything into, that wanted to make it into something. And so reading this, and just this passion that he had for this. At the time, he'd been listening to Astro Weeks, and he was just in love with Astro Weeks, especially the fact that Astro Weeks was done just 4 days. They came in and they did it and they got it done, and they moved forward with it. I think the vinyl is just basic black. And so he was trying to make these demos, but it's taking him a lot longer than 4 weeks. Why? Well, the guy's kind of strung out, and that's why. There's the wears this corduroy jacket that he wore for years and years and years. It was like his deal. Um, but he finally gets these demos done, okay? And this album actually, it came out in 1994, just so you know. Lyrics that it was it was about his day-to-day experiences with pain and loss and the trials of someone that is strung out and struggling. So very autobiographical type experiences. Well, he gets this demo made, and he gives it to a guy that he knows, he's worked with, and really likes, John Agnello. I might be saying that wrong. Who knows? A producer, and he goes, "Hey, you know," and he's living in Seattle. I mean, he was born in the Seattle area, but then they moved out to Western Washington, I believe, 64 to 22. So he was in kind of this hillbilly land of Washington, kind of what he says. So the guy, but he's now living in Seattle when he's doing this. And so the guy says, okay, we can go to New York. I know a studio there is fairly inexpensive and we can get this recorded. And Lanegan, he's just having a hard time trying to decide to do this. And the reason why he doesn't want to go to New York is in Seattle, within a couple blocks of his place, he knows where the heroin's at. He knows he can get his fix every single day. If he goes to New York, he has to hunt for it. He has to, and every morning, every part of the afternoon becomes searching for heroin. And he's not sure if he's ready to do this. But he really, really wanted to get this album done. And this is nice. It's raised letters. That's cool, too. So he goes. And what happens every single day he's out there looking for a fix. And there's a place he does fine, but all the junkies are there and they're circling around the block because there's someone on the watch out. They think they see a cop. Guess what? They shut the door. No one can get in. And all these junkies are just going nuts because they got to have their fix, including him. Well, there was one day he was just waiting. It's snowing, it's cold, it's in the winter time, and he's just soaking wet. And they'd locked the door, taking him forever. He knows he's kind of late for his recordings, but hey, he has to get his fix. So he gets it and he goes to some friend's house. And there, well, the woman's there, and his clothes, he hasn't washed them. He's strung out. Why would he care about washing clothes or whatever? They're just dirty and they smell. So she says, I'm going to wash your clothes. So she takes them and throws them in the washing machine and starts washing them. So he's there in just his underwear, and she has a silk kimono that he's wearing. Pretty hot, huh? Yeah. And then he gets a call from his producer. And this John, he says, you get your ass in here right now. You're wasting my time. This John was a very nice guy, but you didn't screw with him. He wants it done. You need to get done. And Lanegan, he goes, oh crap! If I don't do this, he's going to quit this whole project. I'll never have this finished. I'll never get it done. But he doesn't know what to do. All his clothes are in the washer. So he goes to the closet. Well, his buddy and his girlfriend, they're a lot smaller than he is, so because he's 6'3", very big. So he's like, now what? He goes, I have to get there. So he, in his underwear and the silky kimono, he tosses on his coat, his corduroy jacket, and just pops on his boots, no socks, and off he goes to get a taxi. There's not a taxi in the world that will pick this guy up. Who would pick up a guy that looks like he has a coat, looks like he has some kind of floral slip underneath it, and combat boots? Finally, the girl comes down, hails a taxi, and throws him in there. So he gets to the place, and the producer and the other guy, Jay Marcus was there. They're just dying laughing. This is the funniest thing they'd ever seen. And he got this done. And this album is incredible. This is so good. I'm in love with this album. It's a classic. It's dark. I mean, you could tell by the lyrics, but the instrumentation, everything's really cool. This studio they were at, they had all these all these cookie jars there. The guy who owned it collect cookie jars. And so he has walls of cookie jars. And so as they're waiting for him, they're looking. Well, some of them make noise. One of them, they love that noise so much that J. Marcus says, hey, man, we got to put that on the record. And the producer wasn't sure, but then Lanegan hears it. Of course, he's all strung out. So, he goes, yeah, we got to do that. So the very first song, you hear a cookie jar making noises. Cool album. This is great. I could not have been happier with that. So glad I bought that. And speaking of Mark Lanegan, we have the Mark Lanegan Band, Gargoyle. This album came out in 2017. Again, it's dark and atmospheric. Oh, big surprise. It does come in a white vinyl. This is an original from 2017. Nothing else in there, I don't believe. Nope. In here, he adds more electronics. You have almost like electronic pop and krautrock type influences are happening within this album. And I like it. Some critics or whatever did not like that. I actually think it sounds pretty cool on what he did. It really added stuff to it. You have stuff like Deadhead's Tattoo, Nocturne, Drunk on Destruction. Gives you a feel for what you have going on in here. But he sticks to his low register singing, doesn't try to hit high notes or whatever, and gives this, he has just that low baritone voice. Very good album. Really enjoyed this. That solo one, awesome stuff.
Without nobody touch. California starts to crawl, makes a poor man need his home. If I cry for you, baby, your death's head tattoo made me pray for the last one standing.
Something new, is Fuzz Club Record of the Month, and it is Sunflowers. My friend Andy, who used to have channel Andy Ford and changed its name, and I haven't got there to remember what it is. Sorry, Andy. But he had just showed this, and Andy's out of the UK. Pretty cool vinyl. Sunflowers, it used to be called The Sunflowers, now just Sunflowers. They're out of Portugal. It's formed in 2017, still going, and this is their 5th album. And on here, really, it's like it's like punk with layers of distortion and experimental chaos happening. That might be an easy way to describe it. Name of the album is You Have Fallen. Congratulations. Every time at my age when you go to the doctor, have you fallen lately? No, I haven't. Are you depressed? No, I'm not. I'm depressed by your questions, but no, I'm doing fine. But every time, you've fallen? But they never say congratulations. But this thing has a lot of energy and chaos going on within this music. Chameleon Kid was really, it starts off with that song. It's kind of playful. It's actually, that one's not playful. That one's very noisy. And it just comes right out at you. It just says, hey, here's where we're going to go. There's noisy instruments are right in front, kind of chaotic. Vocals are buried down beneath. The next one is I Got Friends, and it has just this weird synth sound happening that's actually kind of obnoxious, but you get used to it after a while. Again, that one was more playful. There's a nervous energy to it, but again, vocals buried. This, they seem to be more, the thought was, okay, let's deal with trying to get more happening with the instrumentation, and vocals were an afterthought. Personal opinion, kind of what it seems to like. But not bad. it won't make my top 10. It's one that takes repeated listenings, I think, to get a feel for it better. So, Sunstones, You Have Fallen. Congratulations. Into something else. That's from the UK, out of Greece, because Greece is the word. Is the word? Oh, that's the wrong Grease, the movie that I've never watched. We have the Sound Explosions. The Sound Explosions are out of Greece, formed in 91, broke up in 97, reformed in 02. And once again, nothing extra. I don't know why we can't give us a little something about groups. I don't even get a picture of them. But this is garage rock. Part of the garage rock revival. And just 2 albums. They put out one in 1992. And then this one came out in, oh, gee whiz, when was this? 2018. This one came out. The Explosion. So the explosive sounds of the sound explosion. The explosive sounds of the sound explosion. This is fast paced. It's high energy happening on here. It's if you like organ, if you like fuzz, if you like feedback, you're going to like the Sound Explosion because they have it all. It's just a fun album. It only took 24 years since their last album to get this one done, but sometimes you just have to wait for good things to happen. It's fast and furious. It's like taking a time machine back to the 60s and coming up with this. It was really good. You have, let's see, I'm trying to find some of these. Well, in My Grave was wonderful. I'm Lost and I'm Found. I enjoyed that one. Bring Back Your Love. It is one of them, I'm Lost and I'm Found. That was fun because it brings in the yeahs. They do a lot of yeah. There's organ happening all over it, and then yeah. Just great stuff. Maximum power on a lot of these tracks. These guys were great. Out of Greece, because we can never have too many albums from the wonderful country of Greece. Cool stuff. You better run. You better run. Lose it. You're gonna cry. You better run. You better run. And moves us into our next one, just kind of moving along because I yacked a lot at the start. Ooh, surprisingly. This is that reissue from Analog Sounds from Chad Case on the Howlin Wolf. I don't buy a lot of these, but I've never had this album and I've wanted it. And I thought, well, why not just get this? And holy crap, does this sound good. Just extraordinarily good sound. A little crease break for Eric Weinbender if you're watching. I totally love this one. Mona and Midnight. Chester Burnett, Howlin Wolf, born in Mississippi, 1910, died in 76. He just had that booming voice and such an imposing figure. Something like 6'4", 6'5", 275 pounds. But they said he was just the nicest guy. Protege of Charlie Patton, but his music was primal, it was ferocious, and this guy was a blues belter and one of the very best. Ike Turner had found him and signed him to Sun Records, but he put out that first single, and Moaning at Midnight, and Chess heard it and says, you need to play for us. This album, which is Moanin' in the Moonlight, uh, is singles. This is his first album put out, came in 1959, but it took his singles that he'd done and put them all onto here. If you've never heard Howlin' Wolf, if you're interested in blues and want to hear him, this is an incredible album. There are reissues out there. You don't have to buy one from, Analog Productions to get it. But this did sound incredibly good. It wasn't stupid price, so that's also a very good thing. But yeah, this is just has you got Evils on here. I asked for water, she gave me gasoline. I mean, that's just the most beautiful song ever. God, Smokestack Lightning's on it. All Night Boogie, which really has a rock beat. All Night Boogie is like, God, that's Howlin' Wolf. I mean, when you listen to that, awesome stuff. Very happy to have this thing. This is a blues classic. It's, if you love blues, you should have it in your collection. But that's just my opinion.
Come here, baby, sit down on daddy's knee. I got something to tell you, baby, quit worrying me. You went out last night, baby, you stayed all night. You went out last night, baby, you stayed all night. You spent money to work for you, you know you ain't treat me right.
I like Howlin' Wolf. Finally, we have Stella Chiweshe. Chiweshe, whatever. She's from Zambia. No, she's from Zimbabwe. Sorry, Zimbabwe. Big difference. They're by each other, but their music's totally different. She was born in 46, died in 23. She is a Mbira, I believe is how you pronounce it, plays that, and that is the finger harp. And finger harp is a very traditional instrument of the Shona people, which is a major part of Zimbabwe. And it's for males. Very few females had ever played it, but she had a great uncle that just kind of laid around the house all day or sat around, and all he would do would be playing on the finger harp, the mbira. So she finally just was hounding him. I want to learn how, and he just, okay, I'll show you. And the parents, they weren't very happy. That's not for women to play. But she learned to play it anyway, and she learned to play it very, very well. And so she began doing other things. So this album, Mbuya is her very first album, came out in 1987. This is a 2021 repress. And it kind of has rough-edged vocals, and really kind of different. Is that a guy, is that a girl? I wasn't sure, but then you can tell. But it's very passionate. The music is passionate. And there's 6 people in the group. 3 of them are from the UK. They're called the Three Mustafos 3. They add drum, bass, kind of deal with the production, so they bring it more upbeat. But you do have some songs like Mugamba, which is very traditional sounding, but for the most part it's very updated. It starts with Cha-Cha Merenga, Cha-Cha-Chi-Hi Merenga, however, and it just has this upbeat feel. You think it's, wow, this is, it's a great way to get you started. You're kind of, all right, you groove into it. And, I'm really not hearing all the lyrics, but the lyrics on here, it says, my great-grandmother left the grandchildren crying, pacing to and fro all over the land. Cha-cha-tranga. I still cry for my great-grandmother who was beheaded decades ago. That's what it's about. Yikes. All right. So we have some very truthful type lyrics in here. Pretty good stuff. Am I a big fan of the hand harp? I can't say I am, but it does sound really good. I liked what I heard on this thing. Really happy to put it in my collection of the African music. and with Zimbabwe. So there we go. Stella Chiweshe and Booyah. For this week. So hope you enjoyed. Thank you as always for hanging out. Went a little long, but that's how it happens. Have yourself a great week. Really appreciate you sticking with me. Bye.